Hey guys! Haven't talked to you guys in quite a bit. There's been a lot going on. I've been in school, I've been in work, and I just really haven't had the time to do these vlogs. But hey, it's the summer, I'm out of school, and I'm having a lot of free time. In fact, I'm having so much free time, I actually got to go see TATINOF with my mom, and it was so much fun. We got VIP tickets, and we actually got to meet Dan and Phil. First, I'm going to talk about the meet and greet. The meet and greet was actually a lot of fun. We went inside the building, and we showed the ushers our tickets, and they gave us red wristbands, and those wristbands were VIP wristbands. We're waiting in line for Dan and Phil. All of a sudden, I was way in the back, like way in the back. And I'm also very short, so I was on my tiptoes just trying to see what's going on. But all of a sudden, we heard screaming. Really loud screaming. Like, it was like, ah! It was like, oh my god, please, what is going on? Well, Dan and Phil were here. And it was actually kind of funny because I was trying to see what was going on because people were like, ah, Dan and Phil! I was like, oh, sweet Jesus. So, me being short, I tried stepping on my tippy toes, and I just saw a little bit of brown hair, and I knew that was Dan. And the funny thing is he was jumping up and down in the air, and he was like, hi, like that, trying to say hi to everybody. And I've said this before, I'm small. So what my friend thinks is these towering giants, 6'3" and 6'2.9", according to The Amazing Book Is Not on Fire over here. So, speaking of so, I did that in front of Dan and Phil. And when I did that, they gave me this look of just like, what? Like, what is she gonna do? Kind of thing. And, and I explained my outfit. I was wearing a Dan and Phil t-shirt, a really cool pair of shorts, some gauges, and some space shoes. And this is what I decided to say. I wore the gauges because you wear gauges, and I wore the shirt because it's your merch, and then I wore these shorts because I was hoping you'd wear your shirt that was kind of the same. It's the blue one with the white stars, and I was wearing my space shoes because, Phil, you like space. That's pretty much what I said. Probably faster than that, but along the lines of that. And while I was doing that, Phil was so sweet. He was hanging on every single word I said, which was really cool. And Dan kind of looked at me like, so we got another Phil in the room. I actually have a picture to prove that. I'll show it right here. After I was done talking to Dan and Phil, my friend thought that what happened is they probably thought that I was just super adorable and very awkward. Like them. Oh yeah, they also took a selfie. I have a picture there too. Maybe sign your book for you. And I was just like, yeah, sure. And then Dan, you want me to take a selfie of us? Okay, yeah, let's do that. After we were done taking the selfie, Dan looked at it and he was like, aw, cute. Oh my god, he called me cute. I'm dead. And then me, being awkward as F, I asked them in the squeakiest voice I possibly could ever do. I asked them if I could have another hug. And I didn't say it like that. No. Dan and Phil were like, okay, well, enjoy the show, like kind of not shooing me away, but saying, okay, we have more people, kind of thing. And, I looked at Dan, and I said, can I have another hug? Just like that. Okay, so that was probably the most embarrassing thing that could happen. And Dan being the sweetheart he is, and Phil also being the sweetheart he is, Dan was all like, of course, and like he gave me a hug, and then Phil kind of gave like the motion like, get over here, and I gave him a big hug too. And then they told me and my mom to enjoy the show. And then it was actually kind of funny because they asked my mom if if she wanted a picture. And she was all like, no, I'm just the mom. And they chuckled at that. And it was, honestly, if you guys go see TATINOF ever, like if you're from Australia and you see it, I highly recommend VIP tickets. It's such a fun experience. You get to meet Dan and Phil. But if you can't, the show is still amazing. So either way, it was so much fun. In fact, I guess you would say it's fantastic. So after the meet and greet, it was a lot of fun. I met a whole bunch of cool girls, and we were talking about Dan and talking about Phil and having a good time. So we talked for quite a bit, and then we ended up being really far back in the line. So we went all the way back in the line to go right back inside, and I had all these people come up to me, mostly like parents, not all of them, like 3 people. Well, two were parents. 2 were parents, and 1 was a girl. This dad, he was talking to me, and I was wearing my flower crown. So he was all like, I've been seeing a lot of people with the flower crowns. What does that mean? I said, oh, Dan and Phil had a video. It was a Tumblr tag, and they saw a picture of themselves, and they had photoshopped flower crowns on them. So in one of their next episodes, when they did another Tumblr tag, they actually got the flower crowns and wore them in their video. So it's kind of like their thing that they do with their fans, flower crowns and all that fun stuff. And I had another dad ask me a question. He was just like, so what is it with the cat whiskers? And in my head, I freaking saw the clip. What cat whiskers? In their videos, they make Phil is Not on Fire videos, and when they start their videos, they have cat whiskers on them. So same thing, it's kind of like their brand now. Whenever you think of Dan and Phil, you think of cat whiskers. It's just a thing. It's what we do as the fandom, I guess. And I felt like the freaking Dan and Phil help desk over here. Like almost all of these parents were asking me the same questions every time. What's with the flower crowns? What's with the cat whiskers? The last question, I kinda lost my mind, because it was this girl, and she was maybe my age, probably younger, and she was wearing a merch t-shirt, awesome, Dan and Phil shirt, love it, she was wearing a flower crown, and she was in line with her friends, and they were just talking, having a good time, and she asked me a question. She's all like, so are Dan and Phil from Australia? I wanted to bang my head on the concrete when that girl asked me that question. I was polite. And I was like, no. They're from the UK. They're British. They are not Australian. In my head, I just kept thinking, fake fan, fake fan, fake fan. And then I was thinking, oh, you're just here because Dan's hot and Phil's hot? Yep, you're just here to see 2 hot British guys. Guess what? They have a personality too. Like, they're great guys. Anyway, that rant's over. Alright, now I'm going to talk about TATINOF. TATINOF, or The Amazing Tour is Not on Fire, was freaking awesome. Just honestly. I'm not going to spoil anything because Dan and Phil are going to Australia soon, and Dan did say on Twitter that it is going to be on YouTube Red, so everybody look out for that. I know I'm definitely looking out for it. TATINOF was amazing. It was so funny, and it was so cool. Like, Dan and Phil's acting is really silly. Dan has the funniest commentary in the show. Like, most of the time I was laughing at what Dan was saying, because it was just so over the top for me. It's not too much of a spoiler, but they played the 7-second challenge, and it was really cute, and it was really awesome, but I'm a bit biased. I think that was my favorite part of the show. They used my challenge, and I freaked out, because Dan was all like, okay, this one is from Kendra. Phil, you have to fist bump as many people as you can in the audience. Go! And he started fist bumping people, and it was awesome, and I was like, they're using my challenge. And then the second thing that happened, during the show, they were talking about the microwave. When you see the show, you'll understand. So Dan was talking about the microwave, and I looked at him, gave him direct eye contact, and I was like, microwave. And I made direct eye contact with him, and he saw it. And he did this, I swear to God. Like, he did this. He was like, ah! like that. He smiled real big and he pointed at me, kind of like, oh yeah, she gets it, kind of thing. So that was really cool. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say about TATINOF, because I'm not going to spoil anything from that. So there you go. I was asking you guys if you had any questions for me. Excuse me. You need to chill. Someone asked her on her Twitter, they asked, what do Dan and Phil smell like? What do they smell like? Not do they smell good, or do they smell nice, just what do they smell like? Oh, you know, a little bit of existential crisis and some sunshine mixed together. What do you want me to say? They smelled like cinnamon. No, they didn't smell like cinnamon. That's a lie. How did they smell? Okay, so here's the thing. You know when you hug someone and you this is gonna sound so weird. When you hug someone, you kind of smell them. When I hugged Dan and Phil, they both smelled very nice. And Dan and Phil, if you're watching this, I'm not trying to be creepy. Someone asked the question, I'm answering the question. So, another question I got was, what were they wearing? Okay. Dan was wearing, this was cool. This was just destiny. They were both wearing the shirts that I love the most, so I lost my mind when I saw them. Dan was wearing his moth shirt, which is awesome because I thought it was extinct, and Phil was wearing his Avengers shirt with all the little symbols on them, like the little Hawkeye one and all the other ones all over the shirt. And those are by far my favorite shirts that they both wear. Would you see them again? Would I see Dan and Phil again? Let me just say, duh. Of course I would see them again. I would see them in nosebleed seats. I would definitely see them again. I'd say if you go see TATINOF though, I would definitely recommend VIP tickets because it's a lot of fun. You get to meet Dan and Phil, and you get to meet a lot of really cool people along the way too. Funny story, when Dan tweeted about tickets for LA, I was literally thinking of ideas I could get to LA. I was like, I could get a car. I could drive up there, but I have work. I could skip work. No, I can't skip work. And I was going through this whole little plan, just like I could do this, 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 and this. No, I can't. In Cupertino, California, and it was the best. The other question says, is there anything I regret? The only thing I regret is a lot of the girls taking pictures. They took several pictures. I did not know I could do that because they told us that we couldn't. Like, I guess girls could say, oh, hey, take a selfie. Okay, now take one, we're holding hands, you know, kind of like that. So I'm kind of disappointed about that because I wanted to do a picture that my friend suggested. I wanted to be on the floor. I wanted Dan to be on the floor, and we're both having an existential crisis. I wanted Phil to just look at us, like, rolling our eyes, like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. Like, I really wanted a picture like that, but, who knows? Maybe next time. Dan and Phil, if you're watching, we're doing that picture. Lastly, 1 out of 10, rate the show. Let me see. 1 out of 10. Is there anything above infinity? That show was the freaking best. It was so funny. I was crying. I was laughing. I was crying mostly because I was laughing so hard. So much fun. They play music before the show, and it was amazing hearing everybody sing at the same time. And then Dan said, damn, you guys are pretty good, and that was pretty freaking awesome because I was singing most of the time, so I kind of took it to heart. But 1 out of 10, if we're just doing 1 out of 10 rate the show, I would say 10,000 plus a million plus infinity plus every single number out there. It was so amazing. I would see it all over again. Alright, so to conclude everything, I kind of want to talk about how this whole experience made me feel. When you meet Dan and Phil, it's going to sound so cheesy, but I felt like I was the only girl in the room. And they did that with every one of their fans, and not just in Cupertino. They did that with everybody they saw over the tour. They appreciate us so much, and we appreciate them so much. They made us all feel like we were the only girl or guy in the world when we met them. That's why I love Dan and Phil. They make you feel accepted. They make you feel happy. They make you feel any other emotion that you think. Dan and Phil hold a very big place in my heart because I actually went through depression earlier this year. And when I got really, really sad or I was just not having it, I would watch Dan and Phil videos to make me feel better. And they really did make me feel better. Every time. Even if it was just a little bit just to get through the day. But their videos make me happy. And I love YouTube and Dan and Phil and all of these other creators so much because it's not like we're just watching them in a tiny screen. It's like when we watch them, it's like they're there with us, you know? And when we're having a bad day or we're just having a bad week, like we can always count on Dan and Phil or Markiplier or Grace Helbig, Hannah Hart, Tyler Oakley. Like that's just a couple I can name. There's so many more, and I know there's so many more that you guys watch. If Dan and Phil ever watch this video, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for helping me get through all the really hard times in my life. And thank you for helping everyone else with all the crap that they're going through too. Just kind of talking about all of this is, I don't really like it when people treat Dan and Phil like gods, like they're, you know, like they're just so big. Because they're really not. Like, I saw this thing that PJ tweeted a long time ago. It was on one of his videos, and someone asked him the question, how did you, Dan and Phil, become friends? And he said, I treated them like human beings. And that's what we need to do, guys. We need to treat them like human beings. They're just two guys hanging out, making videos in their house. It's their job to do it, but they do it because they care about us. And we care about them. And to be perfectly honest, like when I met them, I felt so close to them that now, like whenever I see them on Twitter or if I see a video of theirs or if I see anything, I'm just like, I met them and they were so nice. They make me so happy. I honestly wish they could just be my friends. Like we could all be friends together and we could just talk. Because honestly, TATINOF was awesome. Cupertino was great. The meet and greet was, dare I say it, fantastic. I want to get to spend more time with them and tell them how much I really, really care about them and how happy they make me feel and how happy they make all of us feel. So yeah, sorry, I got a bit emotional. So thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, you can add a comment. My social sites are in the description. And I'll see you guys real soon. Bye.